Yesterday, the church celebrated the exaltation of the holy and life-giving cross. September 14th may seem like a weird day to celebrate this feast. It sounds like something we should be observing in Lent. So here's the backstory. Constantine had just decreed that Christianity was to be the new state religion. So his mother, St. Helen, an already devout Christian, asked to go to the Holy Land and build churches at sacred sites in that area. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the Church of the Nativity, and the Church of Our Father, all built by Constantine at his mother's, St. Helen's, request. Holy tradition tells us that yesterday, September 14th, was the day when St. Helen's crew, as they were identifying sacred places throughout the Holy Land, discovered 3 crosses with a wooden plaque on the floor, which read, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." It seemed like they had found the cross used to crucify Jesus, but which one of the 3 was his? Accounts vary a little on the details, but one story says that they took up the body of a man who recently died and laid him on each cross. As they laid him on the 3rd cross, he came back to life. So cross number 3 it was. So they, on the 14th of September, declared to have found the true cross of Jesus. That holy and life-giving cross we are each called to take up. Because we have romanticized the cross, it doesn't sound nearly as paradoxical to us as it would have sounded to someone in the 1st century. But imagine the folly of that phrase. An instrument of capital punishment, the cross, being called life-giving. We are not called to crucifixion, but we are called to deny ourselves and to follow Christ. The 2 go hand in hand. Our translation this morning read, "For those who want to those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. For what will it profit them to gain the whole world and forfeit their life?" The Greek word translated here as life has a little deeper meaning than just physical life. Some translations say soul instead, not the spirit-type essence that roams the earth taking care of unfinished business, but rather soul meaning something to describe something's core identity, something's unique characteristics that make it who and what it is. The soul of Southern cuisine, or he's got an old soul to him. For those who want to save their soul will lose it, and those who lose their soul for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. For what will it profit them to gain the whole world and forfeit their soul? Maybe you know someone, a spouse, a relative, or a friend, who gave up who and what they were to get that job, to keep their job, to get that promotion. Years later, they gained the whole world, but that person was gone. They were still alive, but as good as gone. So distant, so overworked. They forfeited their soul. Maybe that person wasn't somebody else. Maybe that person was you. And so, luckily, we have the antidote. Let them deny themselves and take up their holy and life-giving cross and follow me. For those who lose their soul for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. When Christ talks about denying ourselves for his sake, he's talking about denying ourselves for the sake of our relationship with God. And when he talks about denying ourselves for the sake of the gospel, he's talking about denying ourselves for the sake of our relationships with others in this world. Our prayer life, our relationship with God gets so much more meaningful when it's not simply about giving God a to-do list, a list of things I want done that would make things easier for me and those in my life. When we deny ourselves in our prayer life, it becomes more about praying for the other. It becomes more about giving thanks for all the ways we see God at work in the world and in our lives. And it becomes less about, you do this for me, and a whole lot more about, how can I serve you? We actually realize what a friend we have in Jesus. Not someone who gets angry when we mess up, but someone who says, I'll help you out next time, okay? When we deny ourselves, our relationship with God feels alive again. And the same thing is true when we deny ourselves for the sake of the gospel, for the sake of the other. Every time we ask, what do you want to do this afternoon? What do you want for dinner tonight? How is your day today? We deny ourselves. We deny ourselves of what I want to do, what I want to eat, what I want to tell you. And we make room for the other. We learn about a new hobby or activity our friend is into. We hear about a new recipe our beloved is dying to try out. We listen to what a family member is struggling with, and we're there for them. We run into 7-Eleven on the way to work to grab breakfast, and we ask the person sitting outside if they'd like something for breakfast too. It turns out you both like the same thing. We get to know each other better. We try new things. We're vulnerable with each other, and in being so, we can comfort each other. When we deny ourselves, our relationships with each other feel alive again too. It all sounds so absurd. The life-giving cross. Yet somehow we know it's true. Here's a verse from that old hymn, Pange Lingua. Faithful cross above all other, one and only noble tree. None in foliage, none in blossom, none in fruit thy peer may be. Thank you, O Christ, for your holy and life-giving cross.